Whenever you guys are ready.
Hi, I'm Nick Martino.
I'm Tomas Roscoe.
I'm Emily Torres.
I'm Kos Liakis. I'm Alexandra Palamo, and we are Politicate, an educational site geared towards high school and college-age students that provides political information so that our users can become more politically informed and confident citizens.
Originally, back last election season, last year, we came up with this idea, but it wasn't until I was an election judge myself for the actual midterm elections that I saw the real potential for this. So when I was an election judge, there was a very small amount of millennial voters. As a matter of fact, young voter turnout has decreased by 11% since the presidential election in 1972 as to the most recent one in 2016. But it might be even more than that because, again, I saw very, very few millennials. There was mostly elderly or middle-aged people there. And if there was a millennial voter, they had no clue what they were doing. They didn't understand the process. But not only that, they had no clue who they were voting for. This is apparent to me because when they're done, I have to run their ballot through a machine. And if they haven't filled out the entire thing, it spits it back out. And I have to ask, do you want me to run it through anyways, or do you want to take it back and try again? And usually they just say to run it back through because they don't know half or more of the names on the list to begin with. So then I realized that with Politicate, they would have been able to sign up for our website, taken our survey, and that would have told them where they stand in the political spectrum, and then it also would have given us information about hot button issues that they really care about, such as abortion, gun control, climate change, etc. And then we could take that information and get information about politicians or candidates for the next election, or just current events about those things that they really care about so that they could be more informed and ready to vote.
So in order to test whether or not this problem is actually relevant with our community, we decided to create a landing page which is usable on both mobile devices and desktop devices. And what the user will do, we're trying to collect subscriptions to our mailing list through emails, and we're going to use those emails as currency. So our user will press the 3 lines at the top, and they'll press subscribe, and it'll bring them down to this page where they can enter their email. And once we have their email, we'll send out a survey with basic information that we can gather about our users so that we can make our company better. And then once you scroll down a little bit, we provide our UVP so that our users or potential users can see how different we are from other competitors and what makes us unique, which is educational, customizable, convenient. And then all the way at the bottom, this is where you would fill out your email address, and that would be sent to us. And then once you press the 3 dots at the bottom, it'll pop up with all of our contact information and websites that we are currently on, and Costa will talk more about that.
Alright, so you may be wondering how we're going to be driving all these people to our landing page, and we are going to be using Instagram for this. With Instagram, there's a feature that allows us to filter out people, and it'll allow us to get people between the ages of 16 and 24, and people that are politically interested and economically interested in topics. So with this, we will be able to reach maximum 53,000 people and minimum 23,000 people with Instagram. And we're asking for $240, and this $240 will allow us to, again, reach the 53,000 people in a span of 30 days with one selected post. The post will show up on everybody's feeds and will allow them to click our link to go directly to our landing page. Also, we are asking for $130 off of SurveyMonkey, and SurveyMonkey is an app that makes your surveys look a lot more professional. Currently, we're using Google Forms, and that does not look very professional, but with SurveyMonkey, people will be more inclined to fill it out because we do look more trustworthy. So this will help drive a lot more customers to filling out our survey. And then as far as goals go, by May 1st, we're expecting to get 3,000 clicks on our website. That just means 3,000 views on our website. 2,000 subscribers to our email list, so that means that 2,000 people will be entering their emails, and then from there, 1,000 filled out complete surveys. And our surveys, there will be a section with basic information and demographics such as like gender, age, your email, and then also a segment about politics. And that section will give you where you stand on the political spectrum, as well as ask you the topics that you're most interested about. So that would be our qualitative, and our quantitative would be our clicks.
Now, with all of these emails, we intend on doing another MVP, which would be an A and B test MVP, which is basically you create 2 forms of your solution, and you can use that to test out your solution and UVP. So we would send 2 different forms to 2 groups of people of the same customer segment. And for us, Form A would be a free solution, and it would give them, it would only give them like where they stand on the political spectrum based on our survey. And then we would just give them like a list of candidates with how they feel and like the 3 top hot button issues. And then for B, we would have a $199 version where it would be more customizable. So they could then choose what, they would figure out where they are on the political spectrum and then also choose what hot button issues they care about most. And then we could give them that information and like a weekly update to those, about those candidates and current events. And with this, we would be able to figure out if we want to put a price on it or not, which is something that we're working on now, and then we can hope to get more solid information in May.
Okay, for our customer segment, we are targeting 16 to 24-year-olds. So the way we got this age range is 16 to 17-year-olds. It's a couple years before they're going to start voting, so we want to help them get more confident in what they believe in before they head to the polls. And then that 18 to 24 range is the first years where they're starting to vote, and we just hope to help people and our users be more confident when they're actually going in to vote. So for our ideal customer, this is Tony, and Tony is a college student, and all his friends are very politically informed and very opinionated. So they often participate in arguments about their beliefs, and Tony doesn't really know much about what he believes in personally, so he can't participate in these discussions. But with our business, Politicate, we would be able to help Tony find his own personal beliefs without having his friends tell him what he should believe. And this would just help him become more confident in what he wants to do. And so for some of our competitors, obviously on the educational side, there's the big news people like CNN or Fox. But the most direct competitors that we have are websites like I Side With or Vote Compass that are actually sites where you can go take a survey, and that will provide you not only with where you land on the political party, but also kind of line you up with candidates that you share similar beliefs with.
So for our first year financial model, our total addressable market will be 43.3 million 16 to 24-year-olds across America. And our serviceable market will be 1.7 million 16 to 24-year-olds in Illinois. So the basis of this company is that we will be selling political information in turn for user information. This is because user information is actually very valuable to political agencies and other businesses. And down the road, we could potentially sell this information for about 5,000 names for $200 to $300 per list. So for our base year, we decided to make our website free, and we determined this by using our 60 interviews, in which we determined that many more people were interested in our website once they found out that it would be free instead of paid. And as Nick said, down the road, we could have used A and B testing to determine if we should put a price on it. So since our one unit of good is our website, we will have no direct cost of goods, so our COGS will be zero, and as a result, our gross profit will also be zero for our base year. And the only major cost we would have is our SG&A, advertising, and startup costs. Thank you. We are Politicate, Politics Made Easy.
So walk me through the A/B test again. Are we actually going to charge for?
This is like,
B?
right now we have it as free because like when we were first like developing our idea, it was, when we were like first telling people about it, they weren't sure if they would pay, but like when we just want to like compare to see, like they wouldn't actually be giving us money, it would just be like we would see which one they react more to.
Got it, so you're gonna offer them two paths
Yeah.
and just see which one they like more,
Yeah.
and you'll maybe end up charging for the one they like best.
Yeah, if that one,
Yeah, okay,
like if B got more, then maybe
Okay.
we would have a price to it.
got it.
So at the end of the day, the way you were gonna make money is to sell the list of people that signed up to
Yes.
some political organization?
Yes.
And then do the people that sign up know that their name's gonna be sold to somebody?
Yeah, that we're gonna have something like on the bottom.
Yeah, terms
Letting
and
them know.
conditions.
I authorize you to
Yeah.
sell my name to
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what is the ask for your MVP,
It is 370.
and how does it break down again?
It breaks down 130 from SurveyMonkey and then 240 for Instagram.
Okay. So, and again, your main thing that you're testing is, can I get 2,000 people to sign up?
Yeah,
And then you'll A/B test them a little bit right here, which is that.
yeah.
To get 1,000
Mhm.
Yeah, you want to get 1,000 completed?
Yes.
Okay. And like, what was the rationale, maybe you did it in the marketing class, I'm not sure, your conversion rates? Obviously, you're starting with talking to 23 or to 53,000 people,
Yeah.
and then you're assuming you're going to get 3,000 clicks, and then you're backing it down from there.
Yeah. We're setting that, well, we in class, we talked about like the 3, 2, 1, having it at our quantitative and then going to qualitative. So we set that at a little bit of a lower number so that if anything, we can just go beyond that.
Right. Well, here, I would just say this, well, I want to talk to you about the SurveyMonkey too, but I think if you do the math, it's, you know, if you think 3,000 people are going to click on the ad, that's like a 5% conversion rate. So, okay, high still, but maybe not out of control.
Yeah.
But then when you start to say, well, 2,000 of the 3,000 are actually going to be subscribers, probably more than that, you're probably going to have less than that.
Okay.
I mean, they sound like really, yeah, they sound like really high conversion rates, especially if they're checking a box that says, and again, I'm not sure where you're introducing that piece, they know that their names may be used, or maybe that comes later, I don't know. You may want to revisit your goals for how you're going to measure the success of this test with those numbers. And then I'm just going to challenge the need for using SurveyMonkey. Where that came from. It's like my voice is changing today. Sorry.
You're rhyming.
I do a lot of surveying and forums. Do you have? Is it based on something, or is it just a hunch that you think you'll get a higher completion rate because it's that?
Yeah, we just feel that it would get a higher completion rate. And the 130 is for SurveyMonkey for 1 month, you pay $32.
Yeah.
So you're thinking,
Oh.
yeah, over
You know
the
what though?
course-
I think you can get a free trial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we actually use SurveyMonkey for our business. So here's what I would challenge you. I think it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and that money may be better spent on something else. So I don't know what that is, but I don't think it's going to increase your completion rates as much. And you may be able to get a free trial. If not, from there, Survey Gizmo is another one. So
Yeah, we can look into
just,
it.
I think I'm going to push back a little bit on that spend. But
How many eligible voters are in the senior class here?
I don't think a lot. I don't personally know the actual number for it, but I know that there was like last year when there was like the whole, like there was the walkout thing with all that, then there was like a big push for people to get registered, but we never found the number.
Are there any political meeting clubs here at the high school?
I
Is
don't
there
know
like a
about-
Young Republicans or a?
There's not
Young-
currently, actually, someone's running this class. There's talks about starting a club, but there aren't actually any standing right now.
There are classes though, like curriculum, like in like a government class and
Have you identified, ultimate customers? I mean, do you know who are gonna buy these lists?
we haven't been able to, we're working on it right now, we haven't been able to figure out like the exact places, just because there's so many different like Democratic and Republican like agencies like on like a local level, but it would probably be like those people who would want to target specific people. Like if they're leaning like in a Republican direction, then those groups of people would want them.
I'm sure there are, I'm sure there's a plethora of, of groups. You just need to find out who they are, because honestly, if you get a bunch of people who are leftists or, conservatives, whatever, and I got a list of 2,000, you're gonna have an interested customer base, but you gotta identify who it
Do
is.
you guys think of the not-for-profit route?
We did, we thought, we were thinking like, we're just gonna do this for the benefit of the people, but once we realized that companies do want personal information or like demographics, we realized maybe that could be a way that we could.
I mean, you can make a lot of money asking for grants, too. There are lots of organizations that have a similar, they see the same problems you do, they just don't have any way of actually executing against it, and you could be that, a way they can, I don't know, it's just a thought. If really your primary, what you're doing for students or for young people is educating them about the political landscape, it might be a clear path to funding this.
Yeah, we could
Ask
actually
for
explore
grant.
that.
I would say, have that be one of the things you're testing.
Mhm.
It's not going to cost you anything, but I think that would be a strong piece of feedback for when you come to final pitch. Have either those identified potential customers, or say, based on these interviews we did and contacting, going a not-for-profit way might be because we've investigated grants we could apply for that can do that.
At the library, there's a, God, I'm blanking on her name, find out in 5 seconds, but she helps not-for-profits with kind of grant writing and all that, and she's like a really good resource, can point you to, they have like a book or a database or all foundations, like what they get money for. You might do some work there, it
Investigate
wouldn't
that.
cost you anything.
Nope, for sure.
I wouldn't limit yourself to nonprofit. I mean, you get a list of political action committees, and you get a list of customers right there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's lists of political action committees.
Who did your logo and your name and stuff?
We all kind of came up with it together, honestly. We
It
tried
looks good.
to.
I was impressed. I liked it. It's great.
Yeah.
Nice. Cutting.
What would you charge $1.99 for?
We wouldn't actually have them be paying for it, but it would just be like the Form B where it would have everything that Form A has, which is telling them where they are in the political spectrum and telling them about candidates, except they would be able to choose, like, if they don't really care about climate change that much, then they could choose something, like another issue that they care about, and then we would send them like weekly updates on like current events for politicians or candidates, and how they feel about those topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Is
more
it-
customizable.
Is it
versus
$1.99
just-
for like I can't even remember? Is it a subscription newsletter or is
Yeah,
it an app?
yeah, it's like a subscription.
Yeah, it's a subscription.
Okay. So it's
You know-
$1.99 a month.
Yeah.
Well, you got to figure that out. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
be detailed about that.
Yes.
I'm really the mercenary here. Honestly, I think your product really is your list of customers, your list of interested
Yeah.
parties here. I wouldn't charge them anything. You want to maximize as many people as you can possibly get on the list, and then you sell it to somebody for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised at how many people are willing to sign up that says, feel free to sell my name to somebody.
Yeah, with our interviews that we conducted, like almost
really?
no one said that they would pay any money for
I
this.
wouldn't, don't charge them.
No, yeah, it's
You
not.
want to get mass, that's what you're after.
Exactly.
Maybe you don't need to sell their name. Maybe you just sell
Just like the data.
Yeah.
aggregate of, it's blind, right? Like, this is the proportion of our users that cared about this issue and that issue, or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
You
can
go to a
think about-
candidate and say, hey,
Yeah.
if you lean this way, you're
right,
gonna
and
get,
it's just
10,000
anonymous data.
voters.
So what you become is a database And so think of all that, you can research that a bit about what else a political database of a certain target market could be used for. People could be paying you to actually put out their surveys to get feedback. So all of a sudden you change that model too, where you are not selling their names, you are selling a service and access to those names, although you administer it. So,
But all the feedback notwithstanding, the problem you're trying to solve is how do you get people that are a little bit older than you guys engaged in the political process.
Yeah.
So don't
don't
lose
lose
sight
sight,
of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna find out, and fairly soon, if you put one of those ads up and you aren't getting any of those click-throughs and maybe spend a little bit of time on, if you only get 10 people to sign up, what are you gonna punt to then next? To try to get more names. And I think that's where Carlos was, we were going down the path of asking questions like, is there a political group you can go to? Is there, can you go to the admissions office and say, how many people are of 18 age 18 and above in our senior class, and can you send it to them directly? That's where we're getting at, like, sure, that sounds great to do this mass thing on Instagram, but you'll know pretty quickly if that's you or you want.
How many people in that customer group
Sorry.
have you, like the 18 to 24-year-olds, have you spoken to and asked about like what the, but I know, Nick, that was a great anecdote you had at the beginning that kind of prompted this idea, but how many of those folks have you followed up with to ask, like, hey, why don't you know about the candidates, or why are you not engaged politically?
Yeah, that was with our 60 interviews. That's the amount of people that we did, and we asked them, like, what makes you not want to worry about politics? And they said a lot about, it's just so crazy, like all these different news sources are unreliable, and it's just very overwhelming. And with our app, it'll make it so they can customize it to only things that they care about, and it's going to be trustworthy sources. So it'll refine all that
Who's
information.
going to do the research to tie an idea to a candidate?
So actually.
Last comment here.
What?
So last comment, go ahead, you can answer.
Yeah, so actually all of us are doing the research together, and what we're going to be doing is actually using some of our competitors, like that I side with. We're going to plug the feedback we got from our survey and plug the answers into their database, so it does the work for us. And then we just have to send in the name.
Great.
I wanted to know.
We need a number.
Oh yeah, what did you guys ask for again?
370.
And I'm the one holding up on Survey Monkey.
Survey.
Monkey.
Carlos, make the call.
I don't know, I think it's fine.
Maybe you can use the money towards something else, think hard about it. He's saying yes to 370.
370 it is.
That would change.